Good evening and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. I'm Katie Looper, leading our news tonight. Alaska State Troopers say a man shot at least one person who entered his trailer in Fairbanks. It's unclear whether a second person who entered his trailer was also shot. The shooting occurred early Saturday morning. It's believed the intruders were acquainted with the man in the trailer but were not invited. Troopers say a 32-year-old man was threatened for multiple gunshot wounds at Fairbanks Memorial Hospital. Trooper spokeswoman Megan Peters says that a 25-year-old man in the trailer was awake at the time of the intrusion. Soldiers from the 65th Ordnance Company redeployed to Fort Wainwright this past week after spending the last 9 months in Afghanistan. The company is mostly comprised of explosive ordnance disposal specialists and is part of the Stryker Brigade. Their main task during a deployment was to keep traffic routes clear of improvised explosive devices. The unit responded to more than 300 calls during the deployment and cleared an estimate of 45,000 miles of road. Family and friends were on hand to welcome the returning soldiers.
Excited to be home. I've been waiting 9 months to hold my wife in my arms, and I'm pretty excited to go surprise my children as soon as we're done here. And I know they miss me and I miss them, and it's good to be home.
There's a lot of excitement at the Tanana Valley Fairgrounds for one of the biggest outdoor activity events of the year, as 30 churches have come together for City Fest. The Fairbanks City Fest is an all-ages event hosted by the Luis Palau organization. They organize this event 5 to 6 times a year around the U.S. and overseas. Over 30 Fairbanks and North Pole churches engaged in City Fest, and over 600 volunteers contributed to putting on this family-centered event. Randy Burtis, the festival director, and Tiffany Wyman, the volunteer coordinator, explained what was happening today at the fairgrounds.
Well, there's just something for everybody. Just over to my left is going to be a car show that is beginning to fill in now. Some great local car people are here. Behind you is the children's area, and there's face painting and bounce castles and food and information on children's services. And off to our right over there is the main stage, where we're going to have local artists Ben Sanders, Young Fang, Sarah Mickens, who was on The Voice, lives near Anchorage, and then Andrew Palau is going to bring a great message, and Toby Mack, top Grammy Award winning artist, in fact Billboard top 10 artist last year, will be performing a full concert. And over my shoulder is the action sports area.
I am most excited to see the community come together. I love this community. I was born and raised in this community, and I just love any opportunity that allows different people in our community to come together in one location and just be together for a greater cause.
It was a gorgeous day in the interior, and City Fest will continue to run until 9:30 tonight with speaker Andrew Palau and concerts. This is Katie Looper reporting. To raise awareness about cancer started at 6 yesterday evening at UAF and wrapped up at 6 this evening. By midday today, they were about halfway to their fundraising goal of $250,000, with $126,000 pledged or paid. There were 58 teams walking in the 24-hour event, and over 600 people had signed up to donate online. Organizers say events like Relay for Life are very important, both to raise money and research for cancer awareness.
Government is the leading donor for research, for grants. The American Cancer Society is the next. So if you had a stack of paper, the government would maybe grant an inch, and then the rest of these are unfunded. So if we don't earn money to give grants to medical researchers, the cure for cancer might be in the other half of the stack of paper.
When we come back, artists were on the streets today painting the drains, and a celebrity will be teaching UAF students about radio broadcasting. Stay with us. And welcome back. The former city manager of the village of Tanana has been sentenced for selling government surplus equipment for his own benefit. 58-year-old Alfred Barrett Ketzler was ordered to serve 1.5 years after pleading guilty to 8 counts of theft and fraud. The sales Ketzler was accused of making between 2009 and 2012 an estimated value of $1 million. Ketzler is expected to serve his time at a minimum security federal detention center in Oregon. U.S. District Judge Ralph Beislein ordered Ketzler to begin serving his time after July 1st. Judge Beislein also sentenced 62-year-old Tanana City Expediter Alfred Fabian to his 6 months in prison for putting his name on the title of a surplus vehicle. Teams who intended to rebuild 4 interior communities affected by the 2013 floods have arrived in Alaska. The state has been working with the Federal Emergency Management Agency to bring volunteers into aid in the recovery mission. Officials say their focus is to get displaced families homes, make damaged residents safe, and finish the work by September. So far, 116 homes were repaired or rebuilt by survivors and skilled volunteers in 2013. This summer, 48 homes will be repaired or rebuilt in Alaknuk, Circle, Imonuk, and Galena.
Throughout the winter, there's been a lot of plans being laid to get proper accommodations to house a number of volunteers out there, to get the right supplies, designs, infrastructure in place, communication equipment in place, to get pilings driven for foundations to go in. The volunteers are now there. We have about 100 people that are working to repair those homes and to rebuild them. We expect that more than 500 men and women will go up to Galena and other areas in the state to help them rebuild from last year's floods.
Residents near Delta Junction in Fort Greely might be hearing some explosives in the next coming days. According to released by U.S. Army Alaska, artillery and mortar firing as well as frequent machine gun fire as elements of the 4th Infantry Brigade Combat Team with 25th Infantry Division will be conducting training. The training began today with an airborne operation at various drop zones. Officials say the purpose is to enhance the readiness and ability to quickly respond to crisis, contingencies, and humanitarian missions in the Asia-Pacific region. The weekend, multiple artists will be helping to design and paint storm drains located along Cushman Street for a good cause. The Downtown Association of Fairbanks says 15 artists will be up and down the Cushman Street through the weekend. They are going to be painting a variety of designs on storm drains that lead to the Chena River. The effort's main focus is to raise awareness in the public of where the drains lead. That could potentially put a stop to accidental pollutants that would travel into the river. Coordinator Jeremiah Schrock says the project will be very beneficial to the community. The need for more fun activities in South Fairbanks has prompted the J.P. Jones Center to offer regular yard sales and community entertainment. Every Saturday, June people want to sell the used items can rent a booth at the J.P. Jones Center for $20. The yard sale starts at 9 a.m. and fish fry starts at 11. While adults browse the booths, there will be a play zone that offers bowling and indoor bouncy house for kids. Proceeds for the weekly event will support the J.P. Jones Center, located on the 24th Avenue and Rickard Street. Organizers say this event will be a fun addition to the center.
Each Saturday, we've actually did a couple of them in May, and they proved successful for the catfish fry and bouncy house, kids play zone. So we're decided to just continue doing it for the summer and add the community yard sale to it.
Its history back to the early 20th century, and in less than 100 years it has been transformed beyond imagination. But as NPR's Neil Conan says, the foundation of good radio hasn't changed. Conan, who is best known for his work on Talk of the Nation, will teach history and development of radio journalism at UAF this summer. The class, called Sound and Story, will also cover the mechanics of radio and explain how radio pieces are put together. The 4-day course starts at the beginning of July, and there are currently seats available. Conan says throughout its history, radio has been able to keep up with the items.
People keep asking me, when was the golden age of radio? I think the golden age of radio is right now, because the technology makes so many things possible, and it's so disposable, it's so cheap, it's so easy to do, you can carry it around with you, and now the new technology makes it available for people whenever they want to listen to it.
To register or learn more about the course, check out UAF Summer Sessions website at uaf.edu/summer. We've posted a link at webcenter11.com. So Joe Cook is up next sports, and today one local player gets into the major leagues, also a high school state tournament scores, and more coming up after the break.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here, bringing you some weekend sports. Today's big news is that one local product was drafted into the big leagues. The Cincinnati Reds picked Monroe Ram Roderick Scooter Bynum in the 18th round of the Major League Baseball draft today. Bynum was picked 545th overall on the third day of the draft. He's the third interior baseball player to be drafted in a decade. Chris Aury of Owlson in 2008 to the Pirates, and Ryan Shaver of Lathrop in 2004 to the Giants are the other interior draftees. The Rams center fielder is just the second non-pitcher from Alaska to get drafted in the first 20 rounds of the draft. Trayan Langdon was the first, and he was drafted in the 6th round in 1994 by the Padres. But Bynum will put the majors on hold. Instead of accepting the Reds' initial offer, he still plans to play for the Gold Panthers this summer and then go on to play for Arizona Western College Matadors. He signed his NLI back in January. Another great accomplishment for Bynum, who won this year's Alaska Gatorade Player of the Year award in baseball and basketball, becoming just the 4th player in the nation to do that in the award's 29-year history. Bynum is a 3-time 3A basketball state champion and helped the Rams football team to their first ever playoff and state title game appearances in his 2013-2014 senior year. This morning, the Lathrop Malamutes played the East Anchorage Thunderbirds to start their second day of the ASAA First National Bank Alaska State Large School Softball Tournament. Lathrop was coming off a thrilling 5-4 comeback victory Friday night against West Anchorage. The Malamutes were down 4-0, but they scored 5 unanswered runs in the last 2 innings to advance. But could they keep it going? Lathrop lost big to East Anchorage 11-1 this morning, but that was Lathrop's first loss of the tournament. Lathrop faced West Anchorage again at noon and again came back to defeat the Eagles. The Malamutes prevailed 14-10 over West in the 8-inning game. With that win, Lathrop punched their ticket to the state championship game against East. Third game of the day for the Mutes. The T-Birds haven't lost in the tournament, so Lathrop had to beat them twice to win the state title, but East would win 10-0 over Lathrop for the large school softball state title. Casey Duffield and Selena Maxwell were all tournament for Lathrop as the Malamutes finished as state runner-ups in back-to-back seasons. 2 local crosstown rivals met on the diamond today at the state baseball tournament in Sitka. The Dogs, the West Valley Wolfpack and Lathrop Malamutes, went at it for the 3rd time this season. Today, 4th place in the state tournament was on the line. Lathrop won the first 2 meetings, and they would win the 3rd and final meeting of the 2014 season. The Malamutes defeat West Valley 8-2 after leading 5-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. Lathrop finishes the 2014 season with a 4th place finish at state. And the other 2 interior softball teams didn't fare as well in the small school state softball tournament. North Pole and Hutchinson were eliminated last night after suffering 2 losses on Friday. Homer defeated North Pole 8-3 to end the Patriot season, and Kodiak shut out Hutchinson 10-0. North Pole and Hutch were the 1 and 2 seeds from the MAC. Today, cyclists from all over the state and a couple from the lower 48 continue the tour of Fairbanks in stages 3 and 4 for the Steese Time Trial and Steese Road Race. Tomorrow, they'll complete the final stage from Silver Gulch for the Wickersham Dome Road Race. But yesterday, they got a tour of North Pole, if you will, in stage 2, the Speedway Criterium at the North Pole Speedway. We'll start with the women's criterium, which was small, just 5 cyclists there, but Maddie Button pushed the right ones in a tough race as she finished in first after 30 minutes in a 2-lap final sprint. Elizabeth Thurston Hicks, who set the initial pace, she finished second. Button is a former cross-country skier and runner from Lathrop High School and is currently on Colorado State's club cycling team. They're ranked 4th in the nation right now. In the men's division, Tyson Flaherty of Gulfstream Sports won the first stage, which was a time trial, and he carried over into the racetrack. He finished first after 45 minutes in a 2-lap final sprint to win stage 2, holding off Tom Patrol on the final lap. Tim Page, who came up from San Diego, finished 3rd. Now, last year, Flaherty made up ground to win the Tour title. This year, he is the clear front runner with a smaller field of cyclists, so he has the target on his back. But Flaherty, he likes it that way.
Definitely makes it a little easier. I know I've been riding pretty well this year, so I think I should be pretty solid the next 3 stages. I can always try to get people tired when you go hard, so kind of thinking about the next couple of days and seeing if we can tire people out a little bit.
It definitely made it a little tougher, where you can't just sit in the back for the whole race. You have to take your turn, otherwise that's just bad cycling etiquette. Try to recover as much as you can. And then if you see a point where people are tired and you feel strong, then you should just go for it. Go for the sprint.
And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for rocking with me on a Saturday. Your full weather forecast is coming up next, and we'll catch you next time.
Well, welcome back. It looks like it was a great day out there today, Joe.
Yeah, it really was. Beautiful weather, really good conditions for all the cyclists, going on the tour of Fairbanks. I mean, they're kind of away from the interior, but good weather all around.
Yeah,
so
it was
hope
gorgeous.
that continues.
Yeah, I was over at the City Fest, and it was just beautiful there. It looked like a great turnout.
Yeah, maybe the first hint of a beautiful summer for Fairbanks. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, let's take a look into our weather. We're starting with our almanac. Looks like there's a normal high today of 69 and a normal low of 47. A record high was 83 in 1966 and record low 34 in 1992. The sunrise and sunset equals 21 hours and 12 minutes, giving us a gain of 5 minutes from yesterday. And around the state today, it's rainy in southeast along the Kodiak Island. Anchorage is partly cloudy and 62. Up and down the west coast, it's partly cloudy and cooler in Nome. On the north slope, it's snowing in Barrow. Now let's go look at our lower 48. It's partly cloudy in the northwest. Temperatures around the 70. In the southwest, it's cooking in the hundreds. Central Plains, rain is falling, and in the deep south, it's hot and humid. And up in the east coast, it's sunny with highs in the mid-80s. For our outlook of next week, it's going to continue to be hot over the west, more severe storms in the deep south, and lots of rain up and down the east coast. Now for back in Alaska, we're starting with the north slope. It's partly cloudy, showers in Barrow, cloudy in Nome, and showers for Fort Yukon. And now for the interior, Fairbanks is partly cloudy, Delta mostly cloudy, and Healy with isolated showers. Moving down south, it looks like rain for Juneau and Ketchikan. On the southwest side of Alaska, partly cloudy for Cold Bay, showers for Kodiak, and cloudy in Bethel. And for south central, there's showers in Anchorage and Valdez, and mostly cloudy in Homer. And let's take a look at the night's forecast. It's going to be 50 with partly cloudy and isolated showers. And for the extended forecast, nice temperatures all across the board, around 65 to 70 and lows between 45 and 50. So it looks like a nice week coming up.
Yeah, it really does. High 60s, high 70s mixed in, so that's pretty good. And I have to say, Mike Schultz is very proud of you. Katie's been training.
Taking on the weather.
Sportscast. Yeah, first weathercast, and doing pretty well. So yeah, that weather looks extremely good.
Taking on the weather, just a little partly cloudy next week, nothing too bad. Still looks like temperatures are going to be nice.
Right. So hey, nice. Everything's nice in the Golden Heart City.
Yep. Looks like this summer's got a lot coming up though. We got the Gold Painters and Midnight Sunrun.
Oh yeah, June 21st. It's going to be a very busy day.
Yep. We're going to be broadcasting that, so that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So, well, this will wrap up our edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We're glad you could join us.
Yeah, most definitely. And you can join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
Well, from all of us here at the News Center, have a good night.